right. Shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rachak Radash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the GMS who rule well, and also honor and salutation to those of you who are of the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word in sincerity and truth. All right, so today I wanted to talk about something that I was thinking about this morning, and it's as you watch through the videos, as you watch through the videos that brothers are putting up, and just you personally in your everyday thoughts, you have this you get this sense of urgency. You can feel the urgency of the brothers, and the urgency is coming from our feeling, our understanding that something's coming, man. We're getting closer and closer to the end of this thing, man, and you can feel it. If you can't, I would say you're not in the right frame of mind, and you should do some praying to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rachak Radash, and ask for him to open your eyes so you can see how close we are to this thing. Brothers putting up videos of angels, showing themselves at football games, and just things are happening, man. Things are happening, and you can feel the urgency, right? And I was as I was thinking through it, I was amazed, and the reason being, we all know, if you're in the right frame of mind, that the Lord Yahweh Shai is coming back to deliver us. But I started thinking about that, and this feeling of urgency has been a feeling that's been in our nation for a long time. It's just that we had a hiatus, if you will. Matter of fact, let me just I want to hold my place I got, because I want to read something in this book that I got here. But again, that sense of urgency is something that's always been, that we've had, but it's almost like we had this urgency in waiting for the Lord Yahweh Shai to come, and then there was a time where we kind of fell asleep as a nation, and now that we've been woken back up, that it's almost like, I can't explain it. It's like we continued in that same urgency, it never stopped. Because the urgency of old. Matter of fact, let me just type this in, because I'll forget it if I keep going. I'm gonna read this in just a minute. I just wanted to put it in. And there I go. My thought escaped me. But what I wanted to say was, we went through this hiatus, if you will, of not knowing who we were, of course, not knowing that we actually had something to hope for after this, right? And not to tickle these black consciousness people. We're not talking about when you die and you go see a special place. We're talking about after this. When we say after this, we're saying there is life after this captivity. There is a life that is better than this captivity that we're in, right? And to have that the fervor for that, it's like I wish I could put it into words, but it's the same urgency of old that we had, and it's almost like we never had this hiatus. So let me read this really quick, man. It says, this is 2 Thessalonians 2:3. It says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, that son of perdition." Right? So that falling away was us. Before the end could come, we had to be completely removed from our heritage, completely removed from understanding of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. We had to be removed away from our language. We had to be removed away from our land, and to the point that I'm trying to make, away from that urgency, that expectation of, yeah, we're going through this right now, but we have something to look forward to in our redemption, our deliverance. We have something to look forward to. And the amazement it comes from I feel like it never ended. I'm sure I can speak for most brothers when I say this, that even before we came into the truth, even before we came into the full understanding of who we were and what our heritage is and who our power is, we knew that there was something wasn't right. I remember when I was before I came into the truth, I was probably about 18, 19. I was going through something in my life. Every time I think of the story, I can't remember exactly what I was going through, but I was doing a lot of crying. Let me put it that way. I was doing a lot of crying, and feeling like, I remember I was this isn't the exact thing, but I remember when I first got the job. I'm still at the same job that I was at, but I remember when I first got this job, I remember crying. I went into the bathroom, and I was like, man, you ain't never gonna be shit, man. I was looking at myself in the mirror like, you're gonna be working in this factory for the rest of your life, and I can't imagine what would bring me to such emotion, because I was like overwhelmed with it, and I was like crying like this. There's got to be something better than this. There's have to be something. This is not right. This can't be what my life is gonna be. And I remember feeling that way, and there was like a period of time where I was in a rut like that, until I came into the truth, and I found out, like, oh shit, there is something better. But it was like it never, that, like, again, that urgency never ended. And it's amazing how we've picked right back up where we left off in our waiting for the Messiah to come and deliver us, man. There was always that waiting, that the prophecy says that the Messiah is coming to get us, right? Because let me read this one. What is it? And I have scriptures written here, but I'm kind of flowing here. Yeah. So let me go up here. I'm trying to get to a good spot here. I'm gonna read a little bit of this. Let me see. Right. So let's go here. This is John 1:35. It says, "Again the next day after John stood and two of his disciples, and looking upon Yahushua as he walked, he saith, Behold, the Lamb of the Most High. And the two disciples heard him speak, and they followed Yahushua. Then Yahushua turned and saw them following, and saith unto them, What seek ye? They said unto him, Rabbi, which is to say, being interpreted, Master, where dwellest thou? He saith unto them, Come and see. They came and saw where he dwelt, and abode with him that day, for it was about the 10th hour. One of the two which heard John speak and followed him was Andrew, Simon Peter's brother. He first findeth his own brother Simon, and saith unto him, We have found the Messiah, which is being interpreted the Christ, right? So what made him say this? We have found the Messiah. What made him say that? There had to have been this understanding that though we are in this condition, right? Though we are in this under the captivity of the Romans, right? Though we've had, because especially by this time, the Maccabean revolts had come and gone. The Greeks had, died and gone away. Well, the Edomites, as calling themselves Greeks, then they, came into the Romans, and then all the Caesars were putting their iron fist down on our people. So you had to. Matter of fact, let me go to this while I'm thinking of it. What is it? Yeah. Matthew 11 and 12. It says, "And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force." You see? So we were going through hell, man. We were going through hell. So imagine knowing that someone's going to save you from that hell, right? And then the hell just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. So what is your sentiment going to be? Man, I can't wait to get out of here. Man, I can't wait till the Messiah comes. Now, in this time, so here's the amazement, right? Here's where I was amazed. And this time, and that we're reading about, the prophecies were well known, especially among Israel. There was an anticipation, because that was what was always taught to our people, that one day there's going to be this man who delivers us and saves us from the hell that we're in, and reconciles us back with the Most High. It was taught. It was a common thing in that time. Whereas now, it wasn't taught. We didn't know about this. As the scriptures say, to use some verbiage that the scriptures say, we were aliens from the Commonwealth of Israel without Yahweh Shai. So we didn't know of a Messiah coming. We didn't know of a chance for deliverance. We could feel it. We felt that something wasn't right, but we weren't taught these things. It wasn't a part of our everyday life. It wasn't a part of our culture. And yet, and still, we latched onto this again, this sense of urgency that we have in waiting for him to come and save us, man. And to me, that's it's incredible. I wish I can put into words how it makes me feel thinking about it. I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, man, just listening to all the brothers talk, and it's almost like, it is like our heritage was never taken from us. It's like it was laid, it was in us, but it was like dormant, like our minds was separated from it. Matter of fact, let me remembrance. You gotta, when you're in this blue letter Bob, you gotta spell them words right. Your remembrance, though you once knew this. Bear with me for a second here. I think it's bear with me for a second. What is that? What is it? Remembrance, though you once knew this. Let me see. Do it like this. Once knew. Is that how it goes? Yeah, here we go. Right here. It was probably the next group of scriptures. This is Jude 1:5. It says, "I will therefore put you in remembrance, though ye once knew this, how that the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them that believed not." So we knew these things. that we had that, that feeling of the words escape. I'm thinking of the word hopelessness, and that's how we had. It was a feeling that we had before we knew about these things, but it was in there somewhere, because you think about it. It's like imagine seeing a toddler play basketball, right? Or fighting, having an acumen of fighting, right? And never being taught, right? There's a story in the scriptures about the Lord Yahweh Shai when he was a young man in the temple, and he spoke with great authority, and the masters of the temple, they were like, man, who is this kid? How does he know so much? There was a shock to it, right? Because without having been taught, without having been raised up in the church, like much so like Paul was, he still had that acumen for the scriptures and how to navigate through the scriptures and how to ask the right questions. And likewise, if you see a child who can fight or play a sport that he's never been taught, and have a love for a sport that he's never been taught, that there's a shock to that. And that's what I'm feeling. That we weren't taught about the Lord Yahweh Shai until recent years, and still we have that fervor that is like it was always there, like it's always been there, like it was just lying dormant, waiting to be roused up, So I got some scriptures here to talk about this desire. And to show that it was always known that the Lord Yahweh Shai was going to come. It's just in this time now we had to again, as this scripture here says, be put in remembrance of it, right? So what is this? Right. Check this out. Right, this is Acts 1:6. I don't know why I got 1:16 there. I'm about to put it again. Acts 1:6. It says this, I'll start at 4. It says, and being assembled together with them, commanded them that they should not depart from Jerusalem, but wait for the promise of the Father, which, saith he, ye have heard of me. For John truly baptized with water, but ye shall be baptized with the Holy Spirit not many days hence. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? See? So imagine, right? Your whole life you've been hearing about. Let's do this. Open up another one. Let's see, Isaiah 7:14. Right? It's Isaiah 7:14. It says, therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel, right? So imagine hearing these types of things all your life, right? And then you not only do you meet the man, right? But you as a disciple, you learn underneath him. You hang out with him. You eat with him, right? Then the man dies, and then is risen, and then comes to kick it with you again after he has been resurrected. Can you imagine? They probably was like, "Oh, this got to be the time we're about to receive all that we've been waiting for all this time." That urgency, that fervor that was inside of them. They had to have been like, "Man, this is it, finally." But they didn't understand that there. As one of the scriptures I read, that there had to have been a falling away first. We had to forget about that. We had to forget about our heritage. We had to forget about our language. We had to, matter of fact, what is that? 20, is it 28? And 60. It gotta be 20. Right. 20 and 68. And the Lord shall bring thee again into Egypt. The Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, which was what? Our land. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. You see? So this had to happen to us, right? We had to be scattered throughout all the earth, in order for this a redemption, if you will, to be that much sweeter, man. You know, and we have that same connection to that desire of the Messiah coming to save us as we did in days of old, man. You know, just listen, just watch the videos, and try to, as you're listening to the words that the men are speaking when they're doing their lessons, listen to the excitement in their voice. Listen to the anticipation in their spirit. You can't tell me that these men are not the same men that were written about in the scriptures, man. You can't. They are the same men. I can hear it. I can hear it in their voices. I can hear it in their excitement. I can hear it. These are those men that were written about in the scriptures, that were waiting for the Lord Yahushua all their lives. And now we're living in a time where it's going to happen, man. We're going to see it. Yes, in this lifetime, we're going to see it with these eyes, man. Okay. So let me keep going here. Right. What I should have looked it up before I started. John the Baptist. Is it Matthew's 11? Or do we look for another? Let me just try Matthew's. I think it's Matthew's 11. Here we go. This is Matthew 11:1. It says, "And it came to pass, when Yahushua had made an end of commanding his 12 disciples, he departed thence to teach and to preach in their cities. Now when John had heard in the prison the works of Hamashiach, he sent 2 of his disciples, and said unto him, Art thou he that should come, or do we look for another?" So why would he say something like this? Art thou he that should come? They were waiting, man. They were waiting. And to see him doing all the things that he was doing, walking on water, all the miracles that he was performing, bringing people back to life, like they were like, this is it. Finally, we getting ready to get up out of here. Finally, the Lord is come back to deliver us, man. And you can sense a bit of frustration here with John. He said, "Look, man, damn, here I am listening to all these things that he's doing. Why am I in jail? I should I should be getting up out of here. What's going on? Yo, go ask him. Is this him, or we gotta wait for somebody else?" You can hear the frustration in him, because they were excited, man. And that same excitement has returned, man. That same joy has returned in our waiting for Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua to redeem us, man, to deliver us out of this captivity. You see? All right, so let's see if I got anything else on here. Read that one. I think this is a good one, if it's the one I'm thinking of. Luke 2:25. Okay. I'll start at 22. This is Luke 2:22. It says, "And when the days of her purification according to the law of Moses were accomplished, they brought him to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. As it is written in the law of the Lord, every male that openeth the womb shall be called holy to the Lord. And to offer a sacrifice according to that which is said in the law of the Lord, a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons. And behold, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon, and the same man was just and devout, waiting for the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Spirit was upon him. Right? What was this? Let me see. Let's look this up. Consolation. Right here. Play it.
Strong's G 3874. Paraklesis. Paraklesis.
Paraklesis. Consolation, right? A calling near, a summons, right? Importation, supplication, entreaty, exhortation, admonition, encouragement, consolation, comfort, solace, that which affords comfort or refreshment, right? Thus of the messianic salvation. You see? Persuasive, discourse, stirring, address, instructive, admonitory, right? So here's the point here, right? He was waiting to be comforted by the coming of that Messiah that was written about, right? That was a part of our culture to understand what the prophecies were, to understand what was written, you know. And then when the Lord came, what did he say? Matter of fact, what is that? What is that? Actually, no, it's not here. Let me finish reading this. Let me just open up this second one and go to, what is it? Luke. Is it 24 and 44? I think it is. Yeah. So let me go back to this real quick. Okay. It says, and it was revealed unto him by the Holy Spirit that he should not see death before he had seen the Lord's anointed. And he came by the Spirit into the temple. And when the parents brought the child Yahushai to do for him after the custom of the law, then took he up in his arms and blessed the Most High and said, Lord, now lettest thou thy servant depart in peace according to thy word, for mine eyes have seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared before the face of all people, a light to lighten the Gentiles and the glory of the people of Israel. Now, why would he say something like this? How would he know of someone coming unless they were anticipating it, unless they were waiting for it? Okay, and that anticipation has returned, man. Imagine that. You got these people calling themselves Jews, right? These people over there in Israel right now. They're not waiting for salvation. You know, what would they be saved? What would they be being saved from? What? You know? And if you go into a lot of their teachings, right, they don't even believe that the Lord passed on the cross. They don't believe it. It's crazy. So let me see. I think I got two things going here. This one and then yes. So it says, this is Luke 24 and 44. It says, and he said unto them, these are the words which I speak unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses and in the prophets and in the Psalms concerning me. You see? So if there were things written of him in the books of Moses, right? In the prophets and the Psalms, you don't think our people were reading these things? When he got up and read, what is that? What is that? Is it Luke 4? Let me see. Think. Yeah, let me see. Is it John 4 or is it Luke 4? Yeah, here we go. It's Luke, the 4th chapter. I want to read this. This is Luke 4 and 16. It says, and he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written, The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. And he closed the book, and he gave it again to the minister, and sat down, and the eyes of all them that were in the synagogue were fastened on him, you see? So what did he read? He read something of him. Do you think that Israel never knew about these things that were written in Isaiah? Right? Isaiah, what we call today Isaiah the 53rd chapter, right? What is that? Is that Isaiah as well? Dyed garments from Basra? Am I spelling that right? Something tells me I knew it. Let me see. Yeah, it's Isaiah 63, you see? So all these prophecies that were written about, you think our people didn't read these things? They had to have. That's where the anticipation came from. That's where the hope came from, because they knew that there was something coming, you see? So I wanted to read this passage here. So this is from the book, the 13th tribe, right? And I wanted to read this because this guy, Kosler, he found some letters that were written between, I want to say a rabbi. Let me see. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second. Right. So it's this man, has died. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right. Let me type it in so you can see it. So they found a letter that was written from this man that I'm typing in now. Matter of fact, let me see if it got his whole name, so you can look up the right person, because this is pretty. Well, I thought it was cool. Let's see. Just bear with me for a second here. Here we go. Let me see. So you can probably type in, because it doesn't give another name, but you could probably type in as of Spain. Of Spain. Is this the guy? Yep, 9/15. Was that the day he put? He said around born 9/10. So it's probably the same dude. But if it's not, you go get the book, because it's a good book. But anyway, this guy, which from my summation does not look like this. This puts a bad taste in my mouth. But he found out about the Khazar Empire and how they were practicing Judaism, right? And at this time in 910, right, this is beginning, in the earlier stages of what they call the Byzantine Empire, or the Dark Ages, or medieval times. By this time, the whole idea of Israel, either they were in captivity, they were being dispersed from lands, right? Which later on, after this man's time, you have the Spanish Inquisition, right? But this was a time where Israel was fading out, right? We read where that the scriptures say that there needed to be a falling away first. These years are the beginning stages of that, where our people were starting to be removed from our heritage, either by choice to keep their lives, or by force to remain in the lands that they lived in, right? So this man I don't know if I'm saying his name right. He wrote a letter to Joseph, who was a ruler of or the Kagan of Khazar, or the king of Khazaria, and because he was surprised to hear about a kingdom that was independent and it was a so-called Jewish kingdom. He was surprised to hear about it, which he didn't know that they were, Edomites. He didn't know because, again, which he mentions, our people are dispersed all over the place. So he was surprised to hear that through all of this captivity, through all of this persecution, that there had been an independent kingdom. So he wrote to him. But this is what he said. I'll read this first passage first. This is on page 66 of the 13th tribe of Arthur Koestler. It says, the letter, which will be discussed in more detail later on, contains a list of questions about the Khazar state, its people, method of government, armed forces, and so on, including an inquiry to which of the 12 tribes Joseph belonged. This seems to indicate that Hasdai thought the Jewish Khazars to hail from Palestine, as the Spanish Jews did, and perhaps even to represent one of the lost tribes. Joseph, not being of Jewish descent, belonged, of course, to none of the tribes. In his reply to Hasdai, he provides, as we shall see, a genealogy of a different kind, but his main concern to give Hasdai a detailed, if legendary, account to the conversion which took place 2 centuries earlier and the circumstances that led to it. So here's the one thing that was in this letter, of course, that stood out to me. So he says this. He says, and I also have one more request. So this is the letter from Hasdai to this guy Joseph of Khazaria. He says this, and I also have one more request, to be informed whether you have any knowledge of the possible date of the final miracle, the coming of the Messiah, which wandering from country to country, we are awaiting. Dishonored and humiliated in our dispersion, we have to listen in silence to those who say every nation has its own land and you alone possess not even a shadow of a country on this earth. You see? So even in this time, they were waiting for the Lord, especially in this time, because we were going through hell in this time, man. So that was it, man. That's all I had. I wanted to bring that out, man. It's again, I'm still amazed by the power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua and how he's awakened us by way of remembrance and putting that passion and that desire and that fervor to wait for him again. All right, so with that, I want to say all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. I'm grateful, Bahashem Rakak Wadash, for being allowed to teach this word. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles, the GMS, who rule well, and honor and salutations to those of you who are of the hopeful elect. And with that, I say shalom.